So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I want to make this short since usually I kind of drag out and talk for quite a while and kind of digress. There are some things that you can do with your primary care physician. So when I talk about the what we call in functional medicine the 8 pillars of wellness, those are physical, mental, spiritual, occupational, intellectual, obviously nutritional, and society like relationships. When I talk to people about how other things other than what you're eating can be causing you issues, a lot of times what somebody will say was just, okay, I'm having diarrhea, what should I be eating? I can't tell people exactly what to eat, and the reason why is because every body is unique. Everybody needs something different. Even if you're a twin, even an identical twin, your bodies need different things and they're susceptible to different things. And so it really is, I really look at all 8 pillars to see what's going on. And we've discussed the fight or flight and why when you're always in a stressed out situation, your body doesn't put the energy to digestion. And we're going to be talking later about very specific conditions and what that means. But I really wanted to provide you actionable tips so you could really see, why am I feeling bad? And if going to a primary care physician or a traditional medicine person is really makes you feel more comfortable, you have to have the hard, concrete data to show exactly what's going on with you, then these tests are actually ran by your physician. And so I would definitely go, bring a list of testing that you want to have done to your primary care physician, ask them to run them. And if he won't, then I would definitely question him why. So I've actually spoke with several people about having very specific tests run by their primary care physician. And unfortunately, their primary care physician did not feel the need to run them, but strictly wanted to look at their symptoms and provide them with additional medications, surgery options, those kind of things. And so that is really my concern, is that so many people are really looking to their doctor to solve the problem, and yet the doctor isn't looking at the whole picture. And so when I say that there's something else going on, unfortunately people don't listen to that either, and they want the pill. So first and foremost, if you are really looking to feel better and really want to know what's going on, I will give you these test recommendations to go to your primary care physician and have them pulled. The caveat to that, though, is once you find out these results, change has to happen, and you have to realize that when you've been going to your physician to have these very specific symptoms or illnesses or conditions looked at, and he does not give you recommendations that suggest anything other than medication or some sort of traditional medicine protocol, maybe it's time for you to start thinking about looking elsewhere, looking towards integrative and functional medicine, looking towards other things in your life that may be going on that you may be needing help with. This is really all about information. So like I say over and over again, and I'm going to continue to keep saying over and over again, once you've been provided the knowledge, you can never say that you don't know. And so if you choose not to follow your heart and what you know is actually needs to happen, and you go down the same way that you've always done things, then nothing will ever change. But since you have the knowledge, you cannot blame anyone else for not doing it. You have to take ownership of that. So what I always say is just own it. If you choose not to change anything and continue down the same disease path, popping tons of medication to take care of the symptoms and not get to the root cause, then own it. Because that's okay. Don't judge yourself. Don't feel bad about it. You take ownership of it. That's what freedom's all about. So take ownership of that. However, if you are feeling horrible and you've taken medications and yes, they have gotten rid of the symptoms, but next thing you know, you have another autoimmune disease where you have new symptoms, that is your body's way of saying there is something seriously wrong, and we're not going to stop giving you symptoms until you address the problem, because symptoms are the only way your body can communicate. And so the stronger the symptoms, the worse the problem, and the more your body really wants to be heard. Your body wants to be in balance. It wants to be healthy. And we've done everything to screw that up. There's been tons and tons of scientific research that every cell, every organ, every part of our body is meant to heal itself. Even organs and tissues that traditional medicine said that there was no way, they're now finding that every cell in our body wants to heal and has the capability of healing itself. So regardless of whatever condition you have, I want you to own whatever the reason is you're going to a physician or the reason you're seeking help. If you're just seeking to get rid of the symptoms, get rid of the pain, own it. That's fine. But just know your condition will never get better. The symptoms, however, will be masked. So you may not have the symptoms, but the underlying issue is not ever going to get better by continuing down the same path. And the reason why people with one autoimmune disease are more susceptible to having multiple autoimmune diseases is because they don't fix the underlying issue. And so regardless of what autoimmune disease you have, they are all that's just saying that there's something wrong with the body. It's just whatever symptom presents at that time. And so just because you add a symptom, you add a new diagnosis, doesn't mean the underlying problem is different. It could be the same. It's just the body's way of saying, if you're not fixing this, it's actually causing destruction, and then as it destroys, it just destroys. It's like a wildfire through your body. Your body doesn't know what to do, and it really wants to heal, but all you're doing is giving it pills to take care of the symptoms and not take care of the root cause. So I want you to own whatever decision you make. If you decide that you want to work with a functional integrative medicine person, or you want to work with me to work on all 8 pillars of your wellness and not just nutrition. I mean, I definitely talk about nutrition because that is extremely important, because our immunity is in our gut. But as long as other things are going on, your body cannot digest or do the right thing. And so we start low and slow on everything. But know your why, know your reasoning, and if going to a primary care physician is your thing and getting pills is your thing and you want the quick fix, absolutely do it. Don't blame anybody else. Acknowledge it, own it, done. If, however, your why is to really get better and not feel crappy and not take medications and maybe supplementation if you can't get what you need from your food, then definitely reach out to me. And I'll put a calendar link in the comments so you can actually reach me. Also, if you're not if you're not part of the AskStacyNow.com website, please do, because on there I not only have the Facebook Live links, but I have a ton of information, a ton of resources, as well as podcasts with experts, a lot of the experts that I'm working with, so you can really hear and get to know them, but you also get a different perspective about what's going on. So again, I definitely recommend you going to AskStacy.com and clicking on my website and really see exactly what's going on in there and what information you have, because I do give you some tests so you can test your wellness. And with the tests, I also give you the research to show you why I ask the questions, because what the research shows about the answers. And so if you're one that has to have the hard and fast science, this is hard and fast science, and it's not just me saying it. It's not from articles in magazines. This is actually from PubMed, from the National Institute of Health. These are from government websites, as well as research-based organizations. So last thing to be said. So when you contact your primary care physician, again, I want you to ask for very specific things. The very first thing that I want you to have them write down to recommend that they ask for is a heavy metal test. And the reason why is because mercury, a lot of times if we have a mercury toxicity, it actually presents a lot like multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's. So if you do a heavy metal toxic test, and it's really very simple, it's a very simple blood test that they can do, and the physician can order it. However, they are reluctant to order it because, again, one of the people that I spoke with, their physician said, well, you weren't really around it. You can get mercury from the food that we eat, the soil that we walk on, the products that we put on our skin, the colognes, the things we brush our teeth with. You are in constant contact with heavy metals and toxins. Those accumulate in your liver, and I always consider the liver kind of the garbage can of the entire body, because everything has to be filtered through your liver before it goes anywhere. Before it's broken down for food, before it goes into your bloodstream, before it goes into your kidneys. That is your very first filtration center. And so if these are accumulating in your liver, you can plan on having fatty liver disease. You can plan on having cirrhosis of the liver. I actually have cirrhosis of the liver and I don't drink, but I actually got it from medication because unfortunately the toxic chemicals in the MS medication actually caused my liver to at one point shut down, and there was a very significant chance that I was going to need a liver transplant. So heavy metal toxins will definitely give them, and it does the vast array, but mercury is a big one that people are seeing that they're actually having a toxic load on, and that physicians are very reluctant to do. The next thing that I would have ask your physician to test you for is Lyme. And believe it or not, lots of people have had been misdiagnosed with multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's, lupus, and they actually had Lyme disease. So sometimes we don't often know if we've been bit by a tick. There's no way of knowing that. And so just having the test to see if you test positive for the Lyme antigen, so that you test positive for the Lyme disease, that will give you an indicator of where to proceed from there. The next thing I would like, if you can ask, is asking for your C-reactive protein to be tested. And what that gives you is that gives you an indicator of how much inflammation is going on in your body. So as we've discussed on previous podcasts, stress is a huge proponent of inflammation. And so stress, again, doesn't mean necessarily, oh, I'm worried or I'm freaked out or I'm anxious. Stress is anything that causes the body to not work properly. So an accident, any kind of trauma, anything that can physically happen to you, mentally happen to you, anything to happen to the 8 pillars, those cause stress on the body and forces the body to not work properly and causes inflammation. So if you have your C-reactive protein checked, it will give you the level of inflammation that's going on throughout your body. Keep in mind, chronic inflammation, system-wide inflammation, is the precursor to all disease. So if you have very high inflammation levels, do not allow your physician to just give you an antibiotic. You really need to find out what the cause of that stress is and find out what is causing the inflammation. Because just giving you an antibiotic, again, is just like taking a pain pill. It's not getting rid of the root cause. It's actually could be making things much, much worse because, unfortunately, antibiotics actually cause even different problems, causing you to kill your immune system. But anyway, so C-reactive protein is the other. Also, do an IgG or an IgA, which is a food sensitivity test. Most people think that, and I got to tell you, I was one of these people when my sibling actually said that they were gluten intolerant. I was very insensitive to that and said, oh my gosh, you're on the gluten train now. Now what? And then realized that it really is something after, and we've talked about this before, doing functional medicine, nutrition courses, I did realize that it really is something. And so having an IgG or an IgA will actually give you food sensitivities and let you know if there is something that you're eating that's causing inflammation, then you can eliminate it. And how great would that be? Now, if your symptoms still progress and you still notice that there's issues after you've given it probably, I would say, 2 weeks of eliminating that specific food, then there's something else going on as well. And so you really need to look at that. And most likely, if you do have a food sensitivity test, it will give you a long list of things. It doesn't mean you have to do without them forever. Sometimes what you have to do is just let your gut heal, and then you can start implementing or start integrating those back into your diet. However, I'm going to tell you, and we will be talking about this on another another Facebook Live, gluten is probably one that you will not be able to add back in. And we'll talk about why, because gluten is not, unfortunately, not good for anyone and was not ever intended for the body to process in the way it is being processed now. So we all have the stories of, we have grandparents lived to be, 100 and some years old, and they ate gluten every day, they had a loaf of bread, and they had all these things. Wheat and all of the products that are being harvested now are not processed, not planted, and the pesticides and everything that we put on them are what's actually harmful for the body and causing huge issues. And so, again, if you have all of those testing done, that will kind of give you an idea of where your body lies. And these are very simple tests the doctor can run. Now, if your doctor will run them will be the other thing, and it will be extremely important for you to be proactive in your healthcare. Be a very strong health advocate, because most likely your physician doesn't doesn't see the importance of these things. I actually had one of the people that I told that I wanted to have recommended asking her physician to run these tests. He said, just add more water and exercise. Okay, so if we did, and that's their patent answer, just like with osteoporosis, just drink more milk or take more calcium. That's not the case. If your body is in constant stress and isn't digesting the foods properly, it's not going to get the nutrients that your bones, your cells, your organs, your blood need, and so adding more doesn't seem to make any difference. But again, definitely be a very strong advocate. So I kind of want to give you some quick and dirties on what food and gluten intolerance looks like. We all know celiac disease. I mean, these people can get desperately sick, and this people don't realize with gluten, just gluten sensitivity, what gluten sensitivity means. Gluten sensitivity can actually cause headaches. It can cause brain fog. It can cause joint pain, neuropathy, fatigue. It can cause eczema, arthritis, anemia, depression. There are very strong studies that show that there is a huge significance in children with ADD, ADHD, and autism who have sensory issues that gluten can actually cause schizophrenic-like episodes. And so if your child or you or someone you know is suffering with a child that has aggressive tendencies or sensory issues or has bouts of extreme anger, I would definitely talk to them about taking them off gluten, but be very cautious about reading labels, because believe it or not, gluten is in the shampoos that we use, the toothpaste we use. They put it in when they slice cheese. I mean, gluten can be dang near everywhere, and so feel free to have them reach out to me, and I can provide them a list of gluten-free alternatives. I mean, obviously we still want to eat and live a normal life, but like I said, gluten actually causes schizophrenia, psychopathic kind of aggressive tendencies in children and adults who exhibit ADD, ADHD, or autism, or on the spectrum. And so definitely, like I said, reach out to me and I can give you some information about that. But if going to the primary care physician is your thing, and you really want hard and fast rules and lab work to show you what's going on, when you get this lab work, look at it very carefully. Feel free to reach out to me, because your physician is really going to look at just one marker. When I have people actually ask to have their thyroid tested, the physician will go in and ask for what's called a TSH, which is a thyroid stimulating hormone, and ask for nothing else. When the thyroid stimulating hormone is within normal limits, they say, oh, there's nothing wrong with your thyroid. However, people are still having thinning hair, they're having problems with weight loss, they're having skin issues and sleep issues, mood issues, and they don't understand why, because their thyroid is perfectly fine. With the thyroid, I look at it kind of like the trifecta. There are 3 indicators that actually show how your thyroid is working. The first is TSH, but there are 2 behind it that actually are kind of like the reserve, like the extra gas tank. And so when the thyroid stimulating hormone gets low, it pulls from each of these tanks. Now, if you're just testing this one, it's pulled and that tank is full. These 2, however, are depleted. And that's what I want to look at. When I ask somebody to have a thyroid panel, I want them to check not only the TSH, but the T3 and the T4 in order for me to see the levels of those, to see if the thyroid stimulating hormone is pulling from those and showing normal, and that these are depleted, which means there is a significant issue with your thyroid, and there is an issue with the hormones that are being released, and you'll have some hormone imbalance. So there is definitely a reason why I ask you for these tests. And again, these can be paid for by your insurance, when in most cases functional nutrition, functional medicine can't. However, I think the healthcare is going to be shifting, because we have to cure the root cause. With 26 million people with a diagnosed autoimmune disease, everything from acne to Alzheimer's, and an additional 26 million that are just suffering with symptoms and have not gotten a diagnosis yet, but have everything going on to perpetuate an autoimmune disease. That's over 50 million people in just the United States alone that have autoimmune complications. This is huge. There isn't anybody that's not affected by this, whether it be a child, a caregiver, or the person themselves. We all know somebody that is suffering from cystic acne, Alzheimer's, type 2 diabetes, fibromyalgia, multiple sclerosis, arthritis, lupus, all of them. There is not one autoimmune condition that your body cannot heal itself from. But if you need these testing just to show you that there is something else going on, absolutely get them done. But if you ever want to reach out to me and figure out what else it could be other than just your nutrition, and we really look at everything and change everything, but it's very slowly. I don't want to change your life. I don't want you to eat stuff just because you have to be healthy, because eating crappy food and trying to be happy about it is no way to live. Most people will go back to eating real food just because crappy food stinks. And so my whole goal, and it's always been my goal in my own life, is to make changes that don't change my life. And so my goal will be, if and when you work with me, because I'm hoping you all do, that if we decide to go gluten-free, sugar-free, dairy-free, whatever, or we start to do exercises or whatever, we do them in a way that doesn't change your lifestyle, that tastes great, that is readily available, that you won't even know. And so that's my whole goal, is to not change your life, but to change your, not change your lifestyle, but to change your life, because you'll be surprised at the transformation, how well you will feel, and how the root cause will be taken care of. And you will notice that a plethora of symptoms were taken care of all at once, because it's all just your body screaming, please help me, I'm in pain, and there's something going on, and throwing a pill at it is not going to take care of it. So if you need any help, please reach out to me. But definitely go on www.askstacynow.com. Look for resources. Feel free to comment, listen to my podcast, like and subscribe. Forward this information on to somebody who has a child with ADD, ADHD, on the autism spectrum, ODD, any of those kind of things. Definitely forward this on to them, because I think that they may be just taking tons of medication, and that may be doing horrible, horrible things to their children, to their livers, to their kidneys, to their genetic makeup, and passing that on to their children. So I want to thank you so much for being here. I hope this information helped. I hope you take this information to your physician and have them test you for these things, so you can really see that there is something bigger going on, and then that you reach out to me and that we work together, because I can show you the correlation between so many things that you're doing that are affecting your health, and then we can change them, and it won't even change your life. In fact, your life will be so much better, and then you're going to want to change the lives of the people that you love around you. So again, I want to say thank you so very much for being here. I really appreciate it, because when you're here and I'm on your wellness journey, you're helping me on my wellness journey. Because when you ask questions, or there's something I don't know, I research, and then I can implement them in my life as well, because we're all in this together, and it should be about helping each other get healthy. Thank you so much. Have an absolutely spectacular morning, afternoon, night, whenever you're watching this. But again, please go on, and if you can't watch this, if you weren't watching this live, please put on the comments that you did watch the replay and what time and time zone you're at, so I know if I should gauge when I should be doing these. Thank you so much. Bye.